What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 video. It's certainly been a busy couple of weeks since the launch of Renegades, and in this one, we're going to take a look at a bunch of secret weapons for the season. So of course the game got an update, which included new portal loot as well as all of the Renegade stuff. There are a handful of items which are technically portal things, which have yet to be released, and some pretty interesting weapons that'll be coming up. So on the most part, these are going to be for events that includes Arms Week, Heavy Metal, the kind of seasonal events where in the new system, Bungie have a pool of weapons that actually can appear in various different activities, often with various different holofoils, visual treatments, and things like that. So we're going to round up a bunch that are rolling out in the near future. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit subscribe and give us a nice comment down below if you feel like it. If you don't feel like it, then I guess that's fine as well. But now, let's get into it. And so taking a look at some of these yet to be released weapons here on LightGG, which is an awesome database, you should totally use it to look up weapons, gear, miscellaneous things in the Destiny API. I'll link it down below. But for the weapons specifically, we firstly have the Heron. Now this is a new Void Aggressive Glaive, not currently available in the game, but it looks like it will appear through a handful of different events, including Arms Week, potentially Heavy Metal, and Call to Arms, which Bungie have said will return in 2026. So we can see the visual treatment for this particular holofoil of the weapon, with this almost kind of superheated glow on one end of it, which is pretty cool. Looking at the perk rolls for this weapon though, as we can see, in the first trade slot it gets Proximity Power, as well as Replenishing Gauges, and then there's Disruption Break, Repulsor Brace, as well as Lead from Gold, plus we have Overflow and Envious Assassin. Then the second slot is able to roll Destabilizing Rounds, Redirection, plus we've got Unrelenting, Binary Orbit, then there's Unstoppable Force, as well as Ancillary Ordnance, and finally Sword Logic. These also get the Nail Meat Hammer origin trait, where the weapon is more effective against combatant shields, and it gains bonus special ammo progress if it uses primary or heavy ammo, or heavy ammo progress if it uses special ammo. There are some obvious combos on this one. We've got things like Repulsor Brace, Destabilizing Rounds. Kind of interesting that we're going to get Redirection on a glaive. Redirection gives a pretty significant damage boost, obviously. Not the easiest to use because you have to build up those stacks on rank and file enemies, and then it will do more damage against more powerful enemies, but that could actually be kind of interesting for a glaive. Kind of curious about Ancillary Ordnance as well. That's the one that prepares a homing micro-missile, which is launched from your target after the weapon's next final blow. I wonder if that will also affect the melee portion of this weapon. But yeah, that's the Heron. It appears like it will first be available when Arms Week rolls around, which I think will be at some point in the new year. Another weapon associated with Arms Week though is the King Orfeo, which is a new precision frame arc bow. Again, one of the holofoils gets that kind of treatment where it is glowing, but there are a couple of different holofoils, so we can anticipate those will probably drop through various events. Looking at the perk rolls for this weapon though, we have Surplus in the first trade slot, as well as Shoot to Loot. Then there is Archer's Tempo, Explosive Head, Successful Warm-Up. Additionally, there is Pugilist and Impulse Amplifier. Then the second slot's able to roll Dragonfly, as well as Rolling Storm, Precision Instrument, Meganeura, which seems to have been put back on a bunch of weapons recently. Or should I say, it's actually been added as a general trait where it was previously kind of a pinnacle weapon trait. So Precision Final Blows create an elemental damaging explosion that deals more damage based on the number of rapid precision hits dealt beforehand. Plus we have Rangefinder, as well as Jolting Feedback, and Swashbuckler on this one. So obviously, if you're using things like Archer's Tempo, Successful Warm-Up, anything like that, paired up with Meganeura, that could actually be pretty wild. In a lot of ways, that's what I'm most interested to actually check out on a weapon like this, because otherwise, obviously, we've had similar weapons in the past. Nice to have a bunch of the arc perks though, like Rolling Storm and Jolting Feedback on this one. It does also, once again, get the Nail Meat Hammer origin trait. And if we look at the Arms Week engram right here, as we mentioned, these will be available through Arms Week, so there's King Orfeo, as well as the Heron featured in that one, and another weapon, which is Gizmo Weft. Now, this is going to behave kind of like the Submersion Crossbow from last season. It appears to be the Call to Arms weapon, but through events we'll probably get a very low drop chance to actually pick it up, and then of course it will return with Call to Arms where it will be farmable. So Gizmo Weft is a strand micro-missile frame grenade launcher. Kind of a funny, stubby little thing, but for the traits we have Air Trigger, as well as Slice. There's also Envious Arsenal, Blast Distributor, and then we've got Slide Shot and Reverberation, with the second slot able to roll Hatchling, Bait and Switch. We also have Elemental Hone-In, Aggregate Charge, Bipod, and Chain Reaction. And since it'll be linked to Call to Arms, it can also get the contending Cascade origin trait. I think Call to Arms will actually return in April. Bungie also previewed that there is a new helmet coming for Call to Arms this time around, which will be interesting. But again, a small chance to get that weapon during other events during the season. Next up, we have the Micro Mort, which is a new precision frame arc rocket launcher. It isn't currently in the Arms Week engram, so it might be that it comes to other events a bit further down the road. But in terms of perks, we've got Reconstruction, as well as Cluster Bomb, then there is Field Prep, Lead from Light, Envious Arsenal, Impulse Amplifier, and Clown Cartridge in the first trait slot, with the second slot able to get Volt Shot, Rolling Storm. We also have Bait and Switch, Chain Reaction, and then there is Paracausal Affinity, Bipod, and Binary Orbit. So there are a couple of nice rolls there. I'm not sure what you think of the precision rocket launchers. Really do love that visual treatment these weapons get though. Otherwise, there is additionally Action Item, which is a new adaptive frame Stasis Trace Rifle. Again, it has various visual treatments, but looking at the perks, we have Rhyme Stealer, as well as Dynamic Sway Reduction, Rewind Rounds, and Deconstruct, followed by Envious Assassin, Demolitionist, and then we've got High Impact Reserves. Second trade slot can get Crystalline Corpse Bloom, Detonator Beam, plus we have Target Lock, Headstone, Binary Orbit, Killing Tally, and Elemental Hone-In. More than anything, most folks will probably be more particularly interested in this one for its stasis interactions. Nice to get things like Rhyme Stealer, Crystalline, and of course Headstone on this. Otherwise, it does get a series of perks which we've seen on Trace Rifles previously. So those are the kind of miscellaneous event weapons. Outside of those, as we discussed in a video a few days ago, we also have the Dawning weapons, which are listed here. That includes the Permafrost, which is a stasis wave frame grenade launcher. And in the traits, we can get Attrition Orbs, as well as Overflow, Blast Distributor. There's also Rhyme Stealer, Demolitionist, and then we have Impromptu Ammunition and Lead from Gold, with the second slot able to roll Desperate Measures, as well as Crystalline Corpse Bloom, One for All, Reaper's Tithe, Pugilist, and then there is Wellspring or Adrenaline Junkie. And the holofoils for the Dawning weapons kind of give them this frosty or frozen look on them. Additionally for Dawning, there is Fimbulwinter Snitch, or Stitch, should I say, which is a precision frame arc sidearm. And in the traits, we have Rapid Hit, as well as Trickle Charge, a new one for the season, where receiving or discharging Bolt Charge partially loads the magazine from reserves. There's also Rangefinder, Loose Change, plus we have Supercharged Magazine, and while amplified, ammo is gradually transferred from reserves to the magazine, and while in Speed Booster, ammo regenerates faster and overflows the magazine. There's also Collective Pugilism and Lone Wolf. Then the second slot can get Kill Clip, Jolting Feedback, Rolling Storm, Collective Action, Precision Instrument. Again, we have Redirection there, and finally Volt Shot. Lastly, for the Dawning though, we'll see the return of Mistral Lift, which is an adaptive burst void linear fusion rifle. Looking at the traits right here, we have Built to Blast, Envious Arsenal, Firefly, which is interesting, then there's Reconstruction, No Distractions, Withering Gaze, and Overflow in the first trait slot. With the second trait slot able to get Butterfly, a new perk where aiming the weapon for a short period without firing causes the target to explode the next time you deal final blows. And the timer for that will reset when you stop aiming down sights, so that's an interesting one. There's also Bait and Switch, Dragonfly, Precision Instrument, we have Destabilizing Rounds as well as Rewind Rounds, and Reservoir Burst in the second slot as well. Looking to the Iron Banner though, which I think comes back in 2026 at some point, we have the Reghusk's Pledge, if I'm saying that correctly, which is a rapid fire frame void auto rifle. Kind of similar model to some of the Iron Banner weapons we've seen before, but looking at the perks, we have Demoralize, where precision final blows cause nearby targets to become weakened. There's also Destabilizing Rounds, Rewind Rounds, Dynamic Sway Reduction, then there's Built to Blast, Impromptu Ammunition, and Proximity Power. Then the second slot's able to get Attrition Orbs, alongside Golden Tricorn, Kill Clip, Repulsor Brace, Swashbuckler, plus we have Target Lock, and Zen Moment. So some interesting interactions in terms of the Void perks on this one. Otherwise, a bunch of solid potential rolls on it, so give us your impressions below. But the only other things that are kind of hidden at the moment, until Trials returns at least, include the Martlet, which is a new lightweight frame Void Pulse Rifle. For the traits in slot 1, we have Headseeker, Repulsor Brace, Firefly, Lone Wolf, plus there is Perpetual Motion, Keep Away, and Loose Change, with the second slot able to roll Destabilizing Rounds, Sword Logic, Desperate Measures, plus there is Withering Gaze, Kill Clip, Desperado, and Zen Moment. So there's actually a pretty good split between PvE and PvP perks there. I kind of like that you can get things like Headseeker and Desperado on it. Otherwise, it can lean into more of the Void perks. There's also the Cataphract GL3. I know a few folks have picked up the new version of this. I'm guessing from Engram's or something like that. It's a Strand Adaptive Frame grenade launcher. For the updated perks though, there is Envious Assassin, Impulse Amplifier, Autoloading Holster, Envious Arsenal, then we have Quick Draw, as well as Blast Distributor and Lead from Light, with the second slot able to roll Chain Reaction. As well as Full Court, there is also Bait and Switch, Explosive Light, Vorpal Weapon, and then we have Demolitionist or Impromptu Ammunition. So some Trials weapons thrown in the mix as well. Some pretty interesting ones overall right there, kind of like in some of the new perks. Really like the look of that King Orfeo bow with Meganora on it, that could be pretty interesting. But I figured it was a worthwhile video in a way because, obviously, a bunch of those weapons will populate numerous different events through the season. So share your thoughts on them down in the comment section, but if you've enjoyed the video, a rating really does help us out. Also hit subscribe if you want to be kept up to date with more Destiny content, but otherwise thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.